Hey, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call hello, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makah, Kodash. Send double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. We send much peace, love, and salutations to Yakim out there pushing the word of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, sincerity and truth. This is Brother Ariala. And this is a continuation of the 12 tribes review. Today, we're going to do the head of the northern kingdom, the tribe of Ephraim. Okay? We're going to touch on the tribe of Ephraim. So going back into the book of Genesis, the 49th chapter, which this chapter is where the last day prophecies was given from Israel to his sons. And when you go down to verse 22, it says this: Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall. Now, when you see this word Joseph, the reason why we're tying this to Ephraim is because Ephraim and Joseph in prophecy are juxtapositioned, right? Because Ephraim got the top blessing from his father, and as you read through the scriptures, when the scriptures mention Joseph, a lot of time it's mentioning the head tribe, which is Ephraim. And we have those examples because you had two sons come out of Joseph. When you go to Genesis chapter 41, verse 51, it says, And Joseph called the name of his firstborn Manasseh, for the Most High said, He have made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second called he Ephraim, for the Most High have caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. All right. And so when you look at Ephraim, that storyline of fruitfulness goes back even into the name itself. That's what the word Ephraim means. Okay, so you have the Ephraimites, which is the Puerto Ricans, are known for being very, very fruitful and having children and increasing. And as much as they tried to stop the Puerto Ricans and cut them out, the prophecies wouldn't allow it. They're just too fruitful. Now you see this word Ephraim, Strong's G 669. Okay, or Parium. All right. It says double as she, or I shall be doubly fruitful. Right, fruitful. Okay, and so now when you skip ahead and you go into the prophecy concerning this concerning Ephraim or Parium, we skip ahead to Genesis 48 and 11. It says, And Israel said unto Joseph, I had not thought to see thy face, and lo, the Most High showed me also thy seed. And you got to remember that Joseph was cast off into captivity into Egypt by his brethren. All right, they were envious of him. All right, it says, And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth, and Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand, see, towards Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near unto him. And Israel stretched out his right hand, okay, and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hands wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. Okay, and he blessed Joseph and said, The Most High, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the Most High which fed me all my life along until this day, and the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named on them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head unto Manasseh's. Why? Because Manasseh is the firstborn, so you expect the firstborn to get that chief blessing, but that's not how the Spirit works. The Most High likes to show His power in things. It shows that He has the authority, not anyone else. So He wanted that blessing to go to Ephraim. That's why when you see Joseph's name in a lot of the prophecies, it's really mentioning the tribe of Ephraim, and we're going to get some more examples in the scripture. And Joseph said unto his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son. I know it. He also shall become a people, and he shall be great. But truly this younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. Okay, so you see that Ephraim got that blessing. That's why he was cast up to be the head. Now, when you get Ezekiel 37:15, it says, And the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah, all right, the southern kingdom, and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. All right, so you see there, here's an example here where Ephraim and Joseph, though that's a synonymous meaning. So when you go into this end time prophecy, we know in chapter 49 Genesis, this Joseph is referring to Ephraim. Here again in Numbers 1:32, it says, And the children of Joseph, namely the children of Ephraim, see that? By their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the families from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. All right? Those that were numbered of them, even the tribe of Ephraim, were 40,500. That's another example. Skipping ahead, when you go into the book of Revelation, when it starts to break down the tribes here, when you read Revelation 7:4, talking about the 144,000 of 12,000 of each tribe, and it says, And I heard a number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. The tribe of Nephilim were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph. And you see that Manasseh was already mentioned. So this Joseph is going back to what? Ephraim was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin was sealed 12,000. So just to get that understanding on that. Okay, now going back here to that prophecy, when you read more about Ephraim, it says, And Ephraim was a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches will run over. When you get this word bow in the Hebrew, just going to look it up real quick. All right. Yeah, you can already, those that know that word bond, my internet going too slow, right? Son, grandson, child, member of a group. Son, a male child. All right? Children. All right? So that you're going to be fruitful with your children. And we know that that's a chief characteristic of Ephraim. Just increase. And that's a major blessing in the spirit, is to be fruitful with children. That's a blessing. Okay? You know? You read Psalms 127:3, says, Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. Hence the word Ephraim, fruitful. Okay? It's a blessing. Okay? Now, going back. It says, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall. Now, when you look at Puerto Rico itself, I just pulled up whatever I could. Right here, you see you have the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea. All right, just outside of Florida here, just north of South America here, right? They're a fruitful well, man. That's why it's called Puerto Rico. The word Puerto Rico goes back to rich port. That's literally what it means, Puerto Rico, when you look it up. All right, a rich harbor. When the Spanish conquistadors traveled and landed on this island, they were amazed by the rich lushness of this island and how the people were just happy. The Taino Arawak people were just simply happy people because they were basically living in paradise. Even now, you have Edomites fleeing and flocking over to Puerto Rico to live there because the lands are so beautiful. It's cheaper to live there. There's no taxes, and they're flocking over there. We actually have a brother that's in the camp that's Puerto Rican, and he goes into history. He might do a follow up to this video, and I'll upload it if he does. If not, it's all good. But that word Puerto Rico, rich port, speaks to the lushness and the vibrance of these lands. Okay, just richness in gold. The soil is rich. You can grow sugar cane. You can grow all types of stuff here. Okay, just beautiful, beautiful place, surrounded by water. All right, which leads into the a bow by a well. All right, and their branches run over, and that speaks to daughters and children, and they run over the wall. Why? Because the Ephraim, the Puerto Ricans, were one of the chief people that started to come into the United States, the states, and flock over here. They were one of those tribes that started to flock over big time, whether through captivity or whether trying to seek out different opportunities. That's why you have Puerto Ricans all throughout the United States, all along the East Coast. All right, really everywhere, man. Ephraim is everywhere, bro. Seriously, everywhere in the United States. They run over that wall. Okay, they come into the United States and they dwell and chill and everything like that. Okay, I want to quickly get this word branches. When you look up this word, now here they got batath, bath, right? But really, when you look it up, is banath, which goes into daughter or daughters, meaning extending into somehow. When you have a daughter, you're attaching yourself to something else. Okay, that's what a daughter did. A daughter was joined into other houses to make leagues. Okay, and that's what Ephraim did to their detriment. All right, Ephraim did that to a detriment. And that's why when you read verse 23, it says, the archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. All right, those conquistadors and the Edomites were killing our people, and our people continuously were chasing after idols and chasing after our enemies, man. All right, to the point to where they almost tried to wipe out the Tainos and wipe out the Puerto Ricans, but because of that blessing, what happened? Ephraim just kept increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing. Couldn't be taken out. Couldn't be taken out, man. Verse 24 says, but his bow abode in strength. Okay? His bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob, power of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, right? Because that blessing that was put on Ephraim, man, Ephraim was resilient, couldn't be taken out, man. Could not be taken out at all. Even, it says in verse 25, even by the God of my father, all right, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. All right. So Ephraim got a mighty blessing, and that even led into Ephraim, even though they had wicked kingdoms, when they broke off into the northern kingdoms to do what they did, they were able to establish kind of their own things. And now when they came over into the Caribbean, came over to Puerto Rico, and Ephraim traveled, not just in Puerto Rico. They was mixed in the southern part of the United States and in even the northern parts of South America, but they were blessed. All right, they were blessed. All right, now, so a little history here, just touching on these things, man. If you want to go deeper, you can. It's just a review. Now, the Taino people, when you get this on Wikipedia, it says the Taino were a historic indigenous people of the Caribbean, whose culture has been continued today by Taino descendants and Taino revivalist communities. At the time of European contact in the late 15th century, they were the principal inhabitants of most of what is now Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Haiti, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, and the Northern Antilles. The Lucayan branch of the Taino were the first New World peoples encountered by Christopher Columbus in the Bahama Archipelago in October 12, 1492. The Taino historically spoke a dialect of the Arawak language group. They lived in cultural societies ruled by Caciques, I don't know if I'm saying it right, with fixed settlements and a matrilineal system of kinship and inheritance. Taino religion centered on the worship of Zimis. Okay? Now, you can go and read more on that, and it talks about the Arawak and everything like that. I want to go down here. The term Natinio, from which Taino derived, referred to an elite social class, not to the ethnic group. Okay? 16th century Spanish documents use the word to refer to the tribal affiliation or ethnicity of the natives of the Grand Antilles. The word Taino, with the meaning good or prudent, right, was mentioned twice in an account of Columbus's second voyage by his physician, Diego Alvarez Chanca, while in Guadalupe. Okay, so I just kind of typed in Arawak and Hebrew similarities, and this is what AI pulled up from these articles here. See this article: Native Americans and the Jews and the Israelite Indian theory in 17th century Abrahamic thought. It says some say the Arawak and Hebrew languages and culture share many similarities, including language. Both languages are said to lack prepositions and use prefixes and suffixes. Cultural practices. Some say that the Arawak and Hebrew share similar cultural practices, such as division into tribes, appointment of holy priests, lunar calendar for counting months, festivals that correspond with the Jewish calendar, fast and religious rites, laws of uncleanliness, marital separation during menstruation, ritual purification after touching the dead, cities of refuge, as we all know is in the law, burial and mourning practices. All right. Name perpetuation. A deceased brother's name is perpetuated by remarrying his wife. So we know in the scriptures, if you have a brother and he was married, but he didn't have a baby with her, and he dies maybe in war or something, it's your duty to put seed in her and for her to carry on the legacy for your brother. Okay, that's an ancient Israelite practice. Okay, so all of these things are showing links between the Arawak Taino Indians and Israel. Okay, now I'm gonna play a couple of clips from the apostles, and we're gonna go here. I'll play this real quick.
Which they call Puerto Rico. When the conquistadors came in there, there's accounts where they were chopping the woman's stomach open and the baby would fall out, and they would stomp on the head of the baby. But you're gonna tell me you want to save Esau, man? It's in his DNA to be the damn devil. He's doing a wonderful job being the devil. All right, you got something in the book? Go ahead.
This is the book Lost Tribes and Promised Lands by Ronald Sanders, and it's chapter 14 under Bartolome de las Casas. It says, in his brief relation of the destruction of the Indies, Bartolome de las Casas writes of the massacre at Cholula that as 5,000 or 6,000 Indians were being put to the sword.
Now, this links in when you look at that prophecy concerning the archers have surely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. When we see that, okay?
Cortez sang this snatch of an old Spanish song. Mira Nero de Tarpeya, a Roma como se ardía, gritos dan niños y viejos, y él de nada se dolía. Nero looked out from Tarpeia at Rome while it burned. The young and old cried out, and he was troubled by none of it.
Yeah, so in other words, them Edomites, when they were killing them babies and raping them women and killing them women and killing the men and chopping their head off, they didn't care about it. They didn't shed a tear. But all of a sudden, for some reason, Esau changed. Now he's a good guy. He's one of the good guys now.
Boom, and that's what they want to say, right? And so that lends to Hosea chapter 9, verse 13 says, Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, is planted in a pleasant place, but Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer. All right, and this is what we see, man. That's why and still to this day, Ephraim wants to be so-called white. They've been completely destroyed mentally. Completely destroyed mentally into thinking that white is right. White is right. The murderer is killing them. All right, and the Most High is displeased with that. He's displeased with that, man. All right. Now I want to get another clip that the apostles did, because what one thing that we do know that Ephraim is into is what? They're a silly dove. Anybody that knows Ephraimites or Puerto Ricans, they have that silly spirit. And it's funny to see how those things are clear and evident in the spirit if you can receive it. But also, Ephraim is big into idol worship. Now, when the kingdom was split, it was split into the northern and the southern kingdom. Ephraim, being the head of the northern kingdom, was deep into idol worship, deep into wickedness. Okay? Which led to them being basically cast out of the land by the Assyrians, and then bringing a lot of those wicked practices over into the New World, right? But I wanted to read this real. Well, you know what? I'm gonna play this clip. We'll read that in a minute. Play this clip.
The 7th chapter, and we're gonna read the whole chapter. Go ahead.
Hosea chapter 7, verse 1.
Speed this up a little.
When I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered, and the wickedness of Samaria. For they commit falsehood, and the thief cometh in, and the troop of robbers spoileth without.
That's some Edomites, like I said earlier. Go ahead.
And they consider not in their hearts that I remember all their wickedness. Now their own doings have beset them about. They are before my face. They make the king glad with their wickedness, and the princes with their lies. They are all adulterers, as an oven heated by the baker, who ceaseth from raising after he hath kneaded the dough until it be leavened. In the day of our king, the princes have made him sick with bottles of wine. He stretched out his hand with scorners, for they have made ready their heart like an oven, whilst they lie in wait. Their baker sleepeth all night, in the morning it burneth it.
Now let's go back to he stretched out his hand with scorners. Go ahead.
All right, it says, in the day of our king, the princes have made him sick with the bottles of wine. He stretched out his hand with scorn.
The bottles of wine is talking about these philosophies. The number one philosophy that they drunk on is Roman Catholicism. Heavy. Okay? Go ahead.
For they have made ready their heart like an oven, whilst they lie in wait. Their baker sleepeth all the night, in the morning.
Go back to scorners.
Okay. In the day of our kings, the princes have made him sick with bottles of wine.
Roman Catholicism, number one. Go ahead.
He stretcheth out his hand with scorners.
He stretches out his hand with scorners. That's why you don't see too many Ephraimites in the camp, man. It's a rare thing that you see Ephraimites in the camp. You see some of them starting to come in now. But a lot of times when we're speaking, right, you might see a Jake or Edomite buck up against what we're saying. Then some simple ass Ephraimite will come up and he'll join hands. Yeah, them guys ain't right. We got to love every damn body. That's what that's talking about. Go ahead. Because they love the hell out of Caesar. They love Caesar more than Caesar loves his damn self, man.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
For they have made ready their heart like an oven, whilst they lie in wait. Their baker sleepeth all the night. In the morning it burneth as a flaming fire. They are all hot as an oven, and have devoured their judges. All their kings are fallen. There is none among them that calleth unto me. Right, if I may say this.
Yeah, they ain't calling unto the Lord, man. They're calling unto Caesar Borgia. Go ahead.
Well, that was it. They call on the Caesar. They don't call on the Most High, because they believe, because they kind of look a little close to what Caesar Borgia looks like. They want to call on that name. It says Ephraim, and I mean I have to say, is my mother had that damn picture of Caesar Borgia's up on a wall, and I happened to go over there one day, and she had, an old picture of me, when I was like younger, like a teenager. She had the picture all inside of the picture of Caesar, and I said, "Mom, why you got my picture with the devil?" She said, "Ay Dios mío." And then when I went back there again the next time, the picture was gone. Just Caesar Borgia's picture was up. Ephraim,
because she said, "The hell with my son, I'm gonna continue to love Jesus." Now she ain't gonna tell you that, but that's why she,
Yeah, that's right. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people.
Ephraim, he has mixed himself among the people. You know, them Ephraimite women, they love them damn Edomites, man. And them Ephraimite dudes, they love them damn Edomites, especially if you got blonde hair and blue eyes. And then Ephraimite women, they love to bleach their damn hair, man. All right.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Well, these are experts, right?
Anybody that's been around Puerto Ricans know what the apostles are saying is 1,000% true. It is 1,000% true. Okay.
Here we got two experts. They're actually Ephraimites. All right, go ahead.
Hey, like my pops, right? My pops, one time, because my pops, you know, he's a Taino, right? So he came to me. He said, yeah. He said, man. He said, this when I was like a little boy. Like, well, actually, I was like a teenager. He said, man, them blonde hair and blue eyed women. He said, you know, well, actually, he just said blonde hair women. He said, wow. He loved them damn Edomite looking women, man. Because my mother, she has like dark hair. She's like, you know, she's fair skinned like me. She has I think her natural color of her hair is black, but she would always dye it blonde. You know, basically because of my father. You know, it says Ephraim.
Yeah, because I think you have I think Cameron Diaz might be Puerto Rican, and people just love some Cameron Diaz when you have the more darker complected Puerto Rican people that are very, very beautiful.
He has mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Right, so that basically what that means is like you cook a pancake or a cake on one side, but you don't flip it. The one side is going to be dark, and the other side is going to be light. And that's how the tribe of Ephraim is. You have some dark and some light. Because not all the tribe of Ephraim is light-skinned. You know, you did have Judah and Benjamin that went down in there that actually mingled in among the rest of Ephraim. That's where you got some that are dark-skinned. But you have some actual Ephraimites that were dark-skinned before Jake even got there. Then when the conquistadors came, when they mixed with the conquistadors, that's why you had some...
Let's bring it out the right way. When the conquistadors was raping them and killing them. But...
That's when they started getting lighter, and then some of the darker Ephraimites they started getting with the lighter women, and then that's with a whole big
yeah, because they hated their black skin. And then another thing, if you're a dark Puerto Rican, the lighter skinned ones shun you, man. You know, like you got a curse on you. I know that for a fact.
It's like that with Judah too. It's like that with all the tribes. It's like that with all the tribes, but definitely big time with the Puerto Ricans, man. Okay. Like the mothers, the Puerto Rican mothers, teach the girls to get with white boys. All right, and they teach their sons to get with white girls, to lighten up the complexion of everything. You know.
All right.
Yeah, that's just like Jake up here. You always had the dark-skinned Jakes fighting against the light-skinned Jakes. It's the same thing down there.
No.
Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Strangers have devoured his strength, and he know
the strangers is a so-called white man, Esau. Go ahead.
It says, strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. Yea, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knoweth not.
That's right. There was one time I was speaking on Fordham Road years ago, and I was breaking down the tribe of Ephraim, because up there on Fordham Road, you have a lot of Ephraimites, right? So we would always kind of go into the breakdown of Ephraim, because we had Ephraimites in front of us. So there was one guy, grown Ephraimite dude, so he was listening to the scriptures, right? And you can see he was smirking about it. And then when I got to that verse right there, gray hairs are here and there upon him, and he had gray hairs here and there upon him. And when I read that, his eyes popped open. And I said, Poppy, you tell me you're not an Ephraimite? And he kind of stood there, but eventually he walked down the street. All right? Go ahead.
And the pride of Israel doth testify to his faith.
And that's us. We testify to their faith. Tell them that you are of the tribe of Ephraim. And they buck up against it. Remember we read about the part about the scorners? They join their hands with the scorners? Go ahead.
And they do not return to the Lord their power.
No, they want to go back and worship Caesar, man. And there's one Ephraimite woman. We was on Wall Street, right? And well, we've been all over the place. I've been all over the place. I've been to so many different places speaking, out on the highways and the byways. Unlike some of you cats out there, we used to go to Wall Street about. Well, Gabar, you was.
That's the point I wanted on that. Just going into how Ephraim be going off, mingling with the other people, and now they become mixed, and you know, you have the different shades of Ephraim, but also they big into that idol worship. I mean, just they relentlessly chase after idols, man. Ephraim does relentlessly, you know. Hosea chapter 13 verse 2, it says, and now you know, start at verse 1. When Ephraim spake trembling, he exalted himself in Israel, but when he offended in Baal, he died. And now they sin more and more. They have made them of molten images of their silver, and idols according to their own understanding. All of it the work of the craftsmen. They say of them, let the men that sacrifice kiss the calves. All right, and so that goes all the way back to Jeroboam. All right, when the nation was split. All right, and they just continue, man. All right, verse 16. You know what? Verse 15. It says, "Though he be fruitful among his brethren, an east wind shall come. The wind of the Lord shall come up from the wilderness, and his spring shall become dry, and his fountain shall be dried up. He shall spoil the treasure of the pleasant village of all pleasant vessels. Samaria shall become desolate, for she hath rebelled against her power, and they shall fall by the sword. Their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women with child shall be ripped up." Man, we saw that over when the Assyrians came and took down the northern kingdom, and then we saw it again whenever the conquistadors and Esau came over and started to take over the lands, take over the natural resources, to set themselves up, rape the women, and just take over everything, man. And just take over every damn thing. Okay, so now I'm not going to continue on that point. I think that point was made. I'm going to follow up with this last point. We read about some of the similarities, and the apostles and the elder bishops were going into this book, Lost Tribes in the Promised Lands. Lots of good nuggets in this book, okay, by Ronald Sanders. But I'm going to play this clip right here. And it's going to bring out a little bit more information, then we'll close up.
It's talking about while they were traveling, it says,
Indians that rolled up and spoke to...
I got it right here.
You got it? Bring it out.
It says, it's talking about while they were traveling, it says, waving a banner high in the air, the Indian guide soon was greeted by a puff of smoke far beyond the other bank of the river. In response to his signal, the two men waited. Eventually a canoe appeared, bearing 3 men and a woman, all of them Indians, to the place where Francisco and Montesinos were standing at the water's edge. It says, the woman got off and spoke to Francisco in an Indian tongue that Montesinos could not understand, although he could perceive that he was being identified in the conversation. She then turned to her male companions to explain the situation. Upon hearing her words, they rose, went over to Montesinos, and to his utter astonishment said, Shema Yasha Allah Adonai, Allahayana wa Adonai, Akkad.
Right, in other words, Shema Yasha Allah Yahweh, Allahayana wa Yahweh, Akkad. Shema is, O Israel, the Lord our power is one. And that was something that was being said among Israel. That's why he said to his utter astonishment, he was taken aback. He said, how these people talking this lingo that, how the hell did they know to speak about that?
Yep.
Why? Because they were Israelites. Okay?
It says they had recited in Hebrew the fundamental credo of Judaism. A brief conversation then ensued in their common ancestral tongue, according to Montesinos, whose fluency in it is almost as perplexing to the reader as his narrative, as is that of his 3 mysterious new companions. They told him that they were themselves of the tribe of Reuben, and that the tribe of Joseph lived on an island nearby.
That they told him they were themselves of the tribe of Reuben, and that the tribe of Joseph lived not too long there. That was what? The island of Puerto Rico. And the reason why the Hebrew language that he spoke, and when he wrote it down in the dialect, was so perplexing to the reader, was because they didn't understand the Lashon Kodash. So they were speaking the actual Lashon Kodash. So some Israelites that were here kept the actual language and they continued it. But some, how Jake is, sometimes Jake will learn the language and then they'll put slang into it, and then by the time you come back to it and listen to it, and they trying to talk to you about certain things, and you might know the language, and then you'd be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But that's just the lingo that they built up. But these particular Israelites, they kept their language pure. And Luis de Torres, which was the interpreter, he knew exactly what language they were speaking of. That's why when the interpreters or the people that got the information later went back to it and was reading it, it was perplexing to them because they didn't understand the Lashon Kodash, which was the holy tongue. because it wasn't written in the pseudo Hebrew language that was being taught back then. Now you can read that, brother. You got any more?
That was it, all right.
Kind. So yeah, like I said, if you want to go, this is a 48-part series. If you want to go watch it, feel free. But this is a quick review of Ephraim, of the 12 tribes, man. With that being said, call hello Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Kudash, double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to Yahweh. I'm out there pushing the word of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, sincerely and truth, man. Shalom.